What's a job that's romanticized, but in reality sucks? Please thumbs up the video if you enjoy it, and subscribe to not miss out on new videos. Veterinary medicine. Fantasy. I get to work with puppies and kittens. Reality. A 3-month-old kitten died in my care. I've seen so much gore and blood and neglect. I've sent animals home with invasive cancers because family can't afford treatment. I've been the only comfort shelter animals knew before they left this world. It is a specific and exhausting kind of pain, and it isn't really talked about enough. People who say they couldn't do it because of the euthanasia have no idea. The university I went to has a pretty big vet school that operates the only 24-hour emergency clinic in the area. Regular clinics run regular hours. That school employs its own dedicated therapist, exclusively for the vet students. Vet here can confirm. I just lost a classmate to suicide a couple of months ago, and I'm up to about a half dozen acquaintance or closer relationship vets that I've lost to it. I'm only 6 years out of vet med school, so pretty much losing someone I know to suicide on an average of about 1 per year. It's awful. I strongly suspect being a spy doesn't involve half as many high-tech gadgets and spontaneous sexual intercourse as I've been led to believe. One former member of the CIA said the most unbelievable thing about James Bond was that he never had to file an expense report. Super boring and lonely. Keep your head down with your local, usually shitty, job you're placed in, and write reports at night for years. Typically never leads to anything. My understanding is that due to biometrics at ports of entry, most undercover operators are lucky to get 2 covert assignments in their lifetime. Architect. You think you'll be designing big fancy iconic buildings, warehouses, Walmarts, strip malls, and shitbox apartments. All need architects, and that's probably what you'll end up doing. Also, the industry is obsessed with working themselves to death. Sure, you're on salary, but if you don't work over 40 hours, are you really an architect? I dated a girl in college who was an architect major. She was a sophomore, and her professors trained those damn students to be up until 3 AM working on projects. Every time I came to the studio to visit her, 2 coffee pots were running simultaneously, and no one left there before 10 PM. Such a stupid culture around it. There is no reason for it, honestly. I always wanted to pretend to be an architect. Apparently, Lifeguard, because nobody can find them anymore. Hey man, want to be responsible for a ton of lives for minimum wage in the hot sun? You're also going to be mistaken for a babysitter, mocked for trying to create a safe environment, and pressured to cover your unreliable co-workers' shifts. Where do I sign up? My local pool found they had much better employee retention after they put umbrellas on the lifeguard stands. A little shade makes a huge difference. It sounds insanely boring and also exhausting. Just sitting in a chair for hours, watching people paddle around in a pool, while also trying to maintain constant vigilance. It sounds a lot like going on a long drive in heavy traffic. Computer game development, especially testing. That is the arse end of an industry. That is mostly arse. I was gonna say video game development too. People think it's all about creativity and making something cool and fun, when the reality is a lot of bullshit. Treat them like shit. Use them like toilet paper. Indie game development, when it's just you and barely enough people to fill your car. That's amazing. Joyous, fun. AAA game development is where hope, happiness, and creativity go to die. You're burned at both ends, wrung out of every ounce of joy you have ever had, and used like a 10-year-old cumsock. And management doesn't care, because they open their door, and there are 1,000 kids willing to fight a bare-knuckle brawl just for the interview. So why should management care about you? You want joy in game dev? Do it yourself. Source. Worked for a commercial during the Super Bowl. AAA gamma dev company. I will suck dick for food before I go back to that life ever again. Everyone used to think it was awesome that I worked in live sports TV. 70% of the people I worked with were miserable pricks with overinflated egos, and then there were the athletes. I knew several people that worked at my local TV station. They all basically said, I got 5 minutes of training, and then I was editing the live news, with no other instruction beyond, if you screw up, you're fired. Apparently the turnover rate, both voluntary and otherwise, was brutal. People take TV way too seriously. Too seriously for me at least. LOL. It's really pretty frivolous. Journalist. Expectation. I'm gonna be the next Hunter S. Thompson and write compelling feature pieces with a unique voice and get paid to travel the world. Reality. Talking to my editor about how my contact from the cat fashion show won't call me back or do an interview unless we pay them $80 or adopt 2 cats. Lawyer. Number of historic, life-changing, precedent-setting cases participated in. 0. Number of angry, self-entitled, abusive clients wanting to screw each other over. 842. Number of pages of paperwork that sucked up free time and social life. 84,836. Agreed. As a family law attorney, you see the worst shit. People squabbling over pots and pans, using kids as cannon fodder in the emotional battlefield, and clients grieving you when you make them pay the bill. Glad I got out. I would have loved to witness the Beanie Baby divorce, where the couple had to spread out the Beanie Baby collection all over the courtroom floor to divvy it up. My buddy from law school clerked for a family court judge. He dealt with a lot of insane and sad shit, but the bright spot was the couple who had a very contentious division of their collection of pepper grinders. Working on a film. If your crew, it sucks long hours for what seemed like very slow progress on the picture, lots of standing around waiting, etc. You arrive well before everyone else and leave after everyone else. If this is an indie production, you also may have to beg or chase down for your pay at the end of each week. Oh, and when the film wraps, you're now unemployed. I'm a sound effects editor, and have to say, post-production is much more forgiving. Love my job. I probably wouldn't last long on a set though. I went to film school almost 2 decades ago. Everyone I know either went into editing or switched industries. It takes a special type to want to be on set at 40. Being a therapist. Too many people I've met get into the field thinking it's how they saw it on TV. Affluent white collar, own office, warm slow paced environment where you get to sit on a nice comfy couch and be like, let's talk about your feelings. That's only if you get to private practice, which they don't tell you is also like running your own small business, which, good luck, is you have no business acumen. The reality is, you get out of grad school, get your first job working at a community mental health facility, because they are the only ones who will hire you with a limited license and no experience, getting paid less than $40,000 per year if you're lucky, and then get put in a walk-in closet of an office, where they dump 100 client caseload on you the first day, followed by your first client, who has 5 different diagnoses and is on 12 different psych meds, who says to you, F you, you're my 7th different person I've had here. Nobody cares about me. Yeah, people go into $100,000 of debt for that.